Hello, Aaron Kubitz, personal trainer, functional aesthetics CC, helping average guys become better athletes inside and outside of the gym. So in today's video, I'm talking about something that was recently on my mind. I tend to be a fairly motivated individual and I like to push myself pretty hard. And one thing that I've actually noticed is sometimes it's harder to stop pushing than it is to kind of take a step back and to evaluate how effective your methods are. And it's especially true when you have particular goals that are very meaningful to you. You know, if you're in the gym, you're trying to lose a certain amount of body fat, you're trying to prepare for a race, certain athletic competition, or you're trying to build more muscle and strength. For example, when I was in high school, and I feel like a lot of high school guys in the early 20s can probably relate to this sentiment, is that if you get sick or something like that for a week, you would feel like you were going to lose all of your progress or be seriously hindered in your progress by taking that week off of the gym and not going to the gym, right? And that's simply just not true. Yes, you will be a little bit weaker when you come back, but very often the reason that you got sick is because you had been pushing too long, too much, without a break. And so very often you will actually experience better gains when you come back, because that's exactly what you needed. You needed the time to actually rest and recover a little bit, and getting sick was your body's way of forcing that to happen. And last week I actually put out a post, a written post on Facebook, talking about how injury can actually make you a better athlete, because that's actually been my experience. Everybody has a different kind of personality. Some people like to push really hard, others kind of tiptoe in the water, and so it kind of is that Ralph Waldo Emerson quote that says every action is measured by the sentiment from which it proceeds, right? So only are you leaving effort on the table that you should be putting out there? Are you holding yourself back? Are you being lazy? Or do you in fact actually need to rest? And so, when you are actually tired, and you do need that rest, sometimes it's better to actually take the time to relax. Let the foot off the gas just enough so that you can rejuvenate yourself. It would be like if you are exhaling your air. You're going to try to blow as hard as you can, right? And if you just keep on trying to blow when your lungs are on empty, no matter how much motivation, how much discipline, how much grit you have, you're not going to get more air out of an empty lung. You have to relax, allow the lungs to fill back up again, and then take another breath, take that breath and then exhale again so that you can go harder. And that's kind of the point of training. We beat our body down, relax, recover, eat properly so they can come back stronger. And this can be especially hard when you have certain deadlines, like maybe you have an exam coming up, school stuff or something like that, something that you feel like you're behind on, right? Or in the gym, you were like, man, I've really gotten out of shape. I really need to get, I have this event that's coming up and I'm going to be meeting a lot of old friends and I need to get in shape for that, so I better go and work out really hard. Well, you can't make up for neglect, right? You have to do it consistently over time. Like Arnold Schwarzenegger said, we train as hard as we can, but the body adapts at its own pace. It's consistency over time, not a last-ditch effort of extreme exertion that's going to create those gains, right? It's stimulation, not annihilation. So if you're trying to start a fire, right, you have to coax the embers, you have to coax the flame into to become bigger, right? If you blow on it too hard, you'll extinguish it, just like blowing out candles on a birthday cake. But if you gradually increase that level of difficulty, if you gradually increase the stimulus, you are going to see better gains in the long term. So if you have been pushing hard for a while and you're starting to slow down, that's where periodization comes in. I actually had this problem when I was in high school. I was a long distance runner and I would just keep on running farther and farther and farther, and it worked good for a time, and then all of a sudden I started just feeling exhausted all the time, and eventually it came to the point where I just had to stop and walk on the side of the road, because even though for about a month I would will myself to get started, go running, and by the time I got done, because of those endorphins and stuff like that, which by the way are a way of your body masking the pain that your body is in. When you get those endorphins, your body's in pain. You're getting that chemical release to mask the pain that your body is in, right? And so for when I would get done, I would feel good. And so I was like, yeah, that's just what I need. I need to just keep on pushing through this. But it just kept on getting worse and worse and worse until I just couldn't push anymore. And so instead of allowing that to happen, instead of pushing a little bit harder, like sometimes I'll be working on a project for school, for business type stuff or whatever, and you'll be really on a roll, right? And it'll be like, late at night, and you're like, man, I can do a little bit more, because it's been my experience that right before you hit the wall, right before you break, is usually when you feel most euphoric, right? You feel, man, I'm on fire, right? Man, I could probably just work another half hour, another hour. And what happens is when I do that, the next day I end up getting less done and paying the price for it. And in the terms of athletic performance, you usually end up injuring yourself or getting sick, and then you have to take that time off anyway. So wouldn't it be better that when you hit that point where you're slowing down, it's just not becoming as effective, taking the foot off the gas a little bit, and then being focused, being attentive to when your body is ready to go again, and then dialing it in. A lot of times, and I find that for myself, it's easier to just keep on pushing harder and using an ineffective method and just trying to work it harder than it is to let the foot off the gas and use my brain to figure out, okay, take a step back instead of trying to push the wall over, taking a step back and seeing, is there a way to go around the wall? Can I go under the wall? Do I have to push the wall over? Do I have to break it down? Do I have to go over it? Or is there a more effective way to do this? And sometimes that takes more discipline, at least for me, to take the step back and to evaluate my methods and be like, is this actually effective? Am I actually doing this in the best way that I could? And so that's just, one way to look at it. Spend more time becoming effective, making sure that your methods are right, and then also, letting the foot off the gas. And this isn't, again, an admonition to be lazy, right? I feel like in today's, self-improvement culture, also especially in the fitness industry, there's a lot of talk about, you got to push harder, you have to be more disciplined, you have to stop making excuses, different things like that. And that can be very true, because we went through a period of time where a lot of the stuff was, everybody gets a trophy, we're all winners, everybody's okay, you're okay just the way you are. And sometimes that's not actually true. Sometimes you do need to actually improve. You need to level up. Sometimes you are being lazy. Sometimes you are wasting time. And so you need to, again, look at yourself accurately and be like, okay, am I wasting time? Could I be doing this better? But there does come a point where, that can be actually a bad mentality to have of push, 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 push. Sometimes you do need to take the foot off the gas so that the body can come back stronger, so that you can be more effective. All right, guys, that's all I got for you today. Maybe it was useful for you. Are you a pusher? Are you somebody that needs to maybe be pushed, maybe be a little bit more motivated? Only you know that. And so, if you're being lazy, if you're wasting time. Sometimes, I guess before I close this thing, sometimes we get stressed. Sometimes we get under the gun because we weren't being consistent enough. We weren't consistently working on our goals. We were procrastinating. Right? It's like when you have that exam that's due and you don't work on your homework and you don't work on preparing for that exam until a couple days before it. And so then you have to really cram and try to stay up really late at night, and you just can't make up for the lack of preparation, right? And so in that scenario, it's not pushing harder that's going to get you through it. It's about preparing ahead of time so that you don't have to push as hard when the time comes, and you can actually be just kind of reviewing and just preparing yourself for that. Same thing when it comes to a race. You want to prepare really hard before the race and then dial it back when it comes to race time so that you're raring to go when it comes to time to get to the starting line. If you're not ready, a week or two before the race to run your best race, now's not the time to start preparing for it. All right, guys, hopefully you found the video helpful. We'll see you all next time.